My name is Paul Church from Clarity Stamp here in the UK. Welcome to another episode of Groovi Tuesday. I see we have a few people already in the room via our YouTube page. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Clive. And they've already started off the weather report. So Karen is in Shoreham, practicing her colouring, and it's cold. And Clive in Swindon is chilly but dry. So there we go. I can see we've got some eyes coming in. The lovely Julie Campbell's in the room. Nahid, Pat Henry, West Welsh Wales. Oh, that's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? West. I can't even say it now. Is it? Yeah, Wet Welsh Wales. Oh, goodness me. Lovely Ken's in the room. Good morning, everybody. The lovely Sue. Clarity Sue is in the room. All good. Thank you, Sue. And that's my all clear to say that you can all hear me. And who else have we got in the room? Everyone's coming in fast and furious this morning. We've got Ken, Jane, Glynis, Carol, Helen, Cheryl, Sharon, Nahid. Yes. So what's the weather like in Edenbridge today in Kent? A little bit blustery, a little bit drizzly, but apart from that, it's not too bad. So lovely Josie's in the room as well. Oh, Josie's having a new boiler fitted. Oh, I hope that goes well. Just for the lovely weather kicks in. So I've got my coffee with me today. Good morning, Mo. There we go. All the lovely friendly faces all coming in for another episode of Groovi Tuesday. And we'll just do our usual weather reports while everyone pulls up a chair and gets comfortable, ready for some fun and grooviness for the next hour. Yeah, so I get sidetracked reading all the messages as they pop up. I should put my glasses on, really. I wouldn't be going like that, would I? Let's put my goggles on. So I hope everybody's well. I've got very focals after that's it. Oh, I don't know if it's better with or without. It helps if they were clean. Hang on a minute. Let's give them a little wipe. Cloudy glasses. Oh, that's better. Yeah, so it seems to be, we've got a wet and windy Berry. No heating for Josie today. Hopefully up and running tomorrow, so it's not too cold. A nice blanket to snuggle under. I've got an electric blanket. It just takes the chill off the bed at night time, so that's quite nice. I just have to remember to switch it off when I go to bed. So yeah. So I hope everybody's been well. I can see all the weather's coming in. Lots of friends in the room. Do we have any newbies in today? Anybody tuning in for maybe the first or the second time on Groovi Tuesday? We're currently at episode 130. Goodness me. We're on part 9 of working alongside Tina's layering Platemate and the lovely little layering parchlets. So we've been working on that over the last, and I really learned a lot myself last week, especially using the Dorso crayons. Forgive me, I think it was Jane, if I'm not mistaken. Use your finger. What a difference that made. I was really impressed with that. Something as simple as using your finger with the Dorso crayons really did make a difference. But we'll come back to that. We'll have a bit of a recap on that. Maybe I want to add another sort of depth of colour to it. I know many of you have been, morning, I'm a newbie to the Groovi class. Good morning, Susan. And whereabouts do you come from? Whereabouts in the world are you located? Lovely to have. Oh, I know Facebook sort of, sometimes it comes up, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's all about sort of the way that people use Facebook. Got Debs. She's new to Groovi, but addicted already. It does come with a warning. And it is. I think for me, the beauty of the Groovi system and parchment craft as a whole is that the Groovi system gives you the ability to create beautiful line art with ease. There really is no skill required whatsoever. And because it's so achievable and so easy to do, it gives you that confidence of wanting to be able to learn other skills if you choose to. I mean, there's no rule say, right, once you get the line out, now you've got to do this, now you've got to. No, not at all. And when you combine it with the likes of the designer parchment, the coloured parchment, and the lovely backing papers, whether it be sort of the designer papers, the companion papers, or more recently, those lovely tea infusion papers. You don't have to add any colour if you don't want to. And I've been learning, my journey's been progressing over the years since we've been looking at Groovi. Different ways of colouring. Do you colour on the back? Do you colour on the front? But for me, a real game changer was using my finger with the Dorso crayons. It really, really did make a difference. But as I say, I'm going to have another play with those a little bit later during the hour. So if you did miss, then don't worry, because I'll have a bit of a recap. And don't forget, you can go back and watch all of the previous episodes, just like you can all of the Shack with Barb. There's lots and lots of tutorials over on our Clarity YouTube page. It goes back years and years and years and years and years and years. Whether you're into your mixed media, like your jelly plate, your stamping, your gilding flakes, trapping the scrap, there is so much education. And you know what? It's all free. It really, really is. Education's always been at the heart of Clarity and Barbara, and sharing the knowledge. And Barbara always says there's no expert in the building. It's just what we learn together sometimes. So yeah. So let's have a recap on what we've been looking at. So if we come to the overhead camera, so this is the collection of plates we've been looking at. We have our A4sq plate with an aperture in the middle. So this is the plate mate, or the layering plate mate for A6sq or baby plates, and it comes with the lovely panel plate as well. Ever so useful, really, really is. And alongside that, launched at the same time, were the set of 4 layering parchlets. Now, the baby plates are sometimes called parchlets, they're sometimes called baby plates, but overall, they are A6sq in size. And often, if you're new to Groovi, well, not necessarily just new, but you want to do just a little piece of artwork, sometimes we can feel a little bit overwhelmed on looking at a plate and deciding, do I want to do all of it? Do I want to use some of it? What elements do I use? So these plates are a perfect learning opportunity for the various different skills. And they also happen to work perfectly with our pico dies, the squares and the circles. So if you're not on that pico journey just yet, then you can use those to work alongside as well. So these are the plates we've been looking at, and I took my inspiration from a lovely piece of artwork that Tina created. And for those of you that were familiar with Tina's artwork, Tina loved to do layering on different pieces of parchment. But when we first started in part 1, we looked at doing all of the layers on one piece of parchment. And I think it was Jill said last week, she had recreated this, but on just one piece of parchment. So it's all about having that flexibility and learning, hopefully together as you join us on Groovi Tuesday, but also having the benefit of going back and watching again and again. So this is where we was headed, and this basically uses the plate mate, the pattern around the outside, and these have all been pico cut from the pico square dies. Okay, then we worked with this particular, well, Tina worked with, what one did Tina work with? Tina worked, because I went for a different one, didn't I? Tina worked with the corner on here and then put it in all four corners, and it just happened to fit perfectly. And then the centerpiece was using this plate, but it's just using that one flower. Now I know some of you have just taken the design exactly how it comes, and that's fine. It's all about having that confidence of sort of playing along and taking it at a nice gentle pace, whichever you feel comfortable with. So for my piece of artwork, as a comparison, let's break it down so we can see where we've been working alongside. Okay, so let's pop that over there. So we have our largest layer here. Okay, so exactly the same. Use the Pico square and put that pattern in all four sides. And if you recall, mine didn't meet up exactly, so we just had we swiveled it along a bit and just made sure that it did. But I kind of remember where it didn't join up. Then we added a little bit of white work on those dots. Then our second layer, I went for a different frame around the outside. Okay, so I went with the frame from this particular plate. And we used the corner and we worked out, so we did two of the flowers, we stopped there, did that all the way around, and then we infilled with another flower. Okay, so it gave you, if I pop this on, let's put it on some pink maybe. No, that's no good. Let's put it on there. Can you see that better? I will zoom in as we get going, so don't worry. Then my final layer for my piece of artwork was this little piece here. So maybe you just want to do little cards, little notelets, then that's the versatility of the designs. So last week what we did, we looked at introducing colour, because this started off as clear parchment. We used our lovely Dorso crayons to introduce colour into a larger area on the back. If I get a white piece of card, you'll see, there we go, the pink parchment. So you can use pink parchment or you can use any colour you choose. But the Dorso crayons were designed to give you a lovely coverage on larger areas. And this is where I got my top tip about using my finger to work with the Dorso crayons. Okay. Can you tell, Jennifer, good morning. Can you tell me what size card you are using? Hope everyone is okay. Yeah, so the card that Tina has used, I believe, is a 7x7. So it's a 7x7 white card blank. But I suppose it depends on what size you want to finish, because if I was just going to go for that little piece, then I'd probably go for a 5x5. And as Jane rightly says, these designs make beautiful little cards. So we worked with the Dorso crayons on the back, and then I used my Perga pens to add detail to the individual flowers, pretty simple. And we sort of practiced first, didn't we? So what we did was we scribbled out the different colours to see which ones would work well, and then went for that. And then the next debate was, do we do the same colour all the way around? Do we do alternate colours? Where do we start? And that's what we ended up with due to popular demand. So today we're going to have a look at colouring on the flower itself. And I think I'm going to stick with the Dorso crayons so that we get that lovely tone in tone of colour. Okay, so for today's session, Let's just have a little bit of a recap. What we're going to need, we're going to need our artwork. Don't need the plates today. Then we're going to use our Dorso crayons or implements of your choice. Then I'm going to use my mix mat. Now this one says water. For some reason I can't find my oil one, but it doesn't matter. It's the same. We just label them. So if you are using your watercolor pencils and you leave it on there, or your Perga color pens and you leave that color, you can go back and pick it up again. But it's the mix mat. Okay, so we're going to need that. We're going to need that. We're going to need some Dorso oil. We're going to have a bit of a play with the water brushes as well. Okay, now the water brushes that I use when I'm working with parchment have never contained water, so these are my dry water brushes, but they're just fantastic for working on parchment. Okay, we're going to use that, possibly a spot-on sponge. We're going to use our blending pen and nibs as well, so we can have a little bit of a play. So that's got to go that way. They've all got to be in the right direction. Yes, the lively colours are the most popular ones, but we're actually going to be using some black and white today to get a lovely grey, fingers crossed. So that's where we're headed. So we can sort of gather all our bits together and then see how far we get. How's everybody doing? It's this hour every week from 10 to 11 on a Tuesday. It's just nice and calm. Perfect opportunity to getting together with very good friends. And but if you're not joining us live and you're joining us afterwards, doesn't matter. It's all about sharing and caring. So yes. Okay, a question from Debs. Can you tell me how to clean water brushes after using them? I don't know if the colour will transfer to the next colour if you don't clean them. If you're using them with your watercolour pencils or your Perga colour pens, then for me, what I tend to do is I'll take my water brush and I'll take a piece of kitchen towel that's damp and I'll just keep wiping them backwards and forwards. Sometimes you'll still get a little bit of a stain on the end of the pen, but that shouldn't transfer onto your next colour. And that's the way that I would do it. If I'm using with the Dorso crayons, then, I mean, ideally you'd have one set for your Dorso crayons or your blending pencils, and put like a, I don't know, O for oil, W for water on them so that you know the difference. So keep one for your oils and one for your watercolouring. And then, because obviously I'm going to use, these have been used dry with the blending pencils and the Pergamano. What was that? I think that was the dust cart just going past. So I know I can go straight onto it because I haven't used these for a while. But it's a very good question. If anybody else has got any questions, I'll try and answer them for you. And if I miss the questions, I'm sure one of the lovely design team will be there to help you. Right. Okay. Nice and quiet, apart from the dust cart outside. Should we have a play? I think we should. Okay. I'm going to come in on the overhead camera now, and I'm going to zoom in so that we can get a little bit closer. Ooh, hang on. Stretch. Which way? I still can't remember which way to go. There we go. We're going to come in close, and then I'll relocate my artwork. Whee, there we go. Okay. Have a breathe. Yes, the lovely Jane Telford will be on Create and Craft on Thursday for the Pergamano shows. A lovely collection of plates designed by the super duper jazz in the office. So yeah, that'd be good shows, I'm sure. I've seen what Jane's going to share with you, and I think there's lots of different more in-depth colouring techniques, if I remember rightly. So let's have a look. We're working on the back. Happy birthday spelt backwards. Okay, and I'm going to start off, I think, with the pink. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the pink. I'm going to scribble some out onto my mix mat. Now I could scribble onto here, okay, but at the moment I haven't decided whether I'm going to use Dorso on everything or whether I might do one flower with Dorso crayons, I might do one flower with the pencils, and I might do another flower with the Pergacolor pens. How does that sound? I think that's a good idea. Yes. I think, yeah, that's that's the plan in my head. Whether it happens, we'll find out. Okay. That's all right, my brain's ticking now. What am I doing? What am I doing? No, I know what I'm doing. Okay. So I've scribbled some Dorso crayon onto my mix mat, and I've now got choices. I can take my Dorso oil, and I could put a drop next to it, but a drop is never a drop with the Dorso oil because sometimes it just gushes out. So to control that, I'm going to put some on my spot-on sponge. Okay. I'm going to, oh, it smells lovely. It smells really nice. Lovely oranges. Okay, so I've got a clean nib, and I'm literally going to tap the oil, but I'm going to tap it so quick, if you blink, you're going to miss it. Okay, that was it. And then what we can start to do is pick up our colour. Okay, maybe a little bit more oil. That was a little bit too blink and you miss it, wasn't it? And then we can come over and we can now start to colour on the back of our parchment. Okay, so this one here, you can't really see it at the moment. Let me take, I wonder if I take, yeah, you can just about see that, can't you? I think if I put the pink on there, you've got no chance. Okay, pick up some more oil, pick up some more of the Dorso crayons. So the Dorso crayons are not just for larger areas, they're great for sort of colouring in with generally as well. Okay. And by using the blending mat or the mix mat as an applicator, it means I've got a little bit more control with the colour. So what I can do is, rather than go on sort of really, really bright pink, I can gradually build up those layers. And I know for those of you watching at home, you're probably thinking, well, there's nothing going on. There is, it's very, very subtle. Let me grab a white piece of paper. Look, very subtle. Okay. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So let's pick up some more of the mix mat. And let's continue with this petal here using this method. Okay. Now, if I take my crayon, I'm going to go direct to the parchment, and then I pick up some oil, and I can break that Dorso crayon down using my blending nib. And because these have such fine detail, I can really get in to the areas I need to. Okay, so go back up, pick some more colour up, like so. anyone doing this at the same time? Or is everyone just watching? I know what you're all doing. You're all multitasking, aren't you? You're watching or you're listening, and you're over on the Clarity website, aren't you, for the half price member sale? Oh, I know what you're up to. Lots of these names I've seen with orders coming in, but I'm not going to grass anyone up, am I? No, I got into trouble last time when I grassed Glynis up. And Pete was listening in the background. It's all right, Pete, Glynis hasn't placed any orders. The lovely Jill is joining in as well. See, all these people that can multitask. I know. There was a lot of message just further up. Let me just scroll back and okay, so Trisha, morning Paul and everyone, hope all's well. Just caught you while I'm working. Normally miss these events. Oh my god, love these Groovi plates and just went off and ordered them with the crayons. I often wondered if I should, but these looks great. So thank you so much for the demo. More than welcome. More than welcome. Oh, dearie me. See, I know what you're all up to. When it goes quiet in the chat, you're sort of listening on one device, shopping on the other. I know. See all the names, well, many of the names coming through. I mean, half price as well if you're in the various different clubs. Perfect opportunity to stock up, isn't it? So Glynis, is Pete not around? Can I? No, I'm joking. Pete doesn't mind though, does he, Glynis? Pete's a lovely man. Right, so we've got a very sort of light gradual colour on there. And if I bring in the white piece of colour, very, very subtle, isn't it? But as I say, we can build it up. And if we go over the lines, like I can see here, I've gone over the line, then that's where the eraser pencil will come into play. But we'll do that at the end. Okay. Excuse me. Now, the other technique that we picked up on last week is if we put the colour on direct to our artwork, okay, we can then take our finger to blend. Now, depending on the size of the image you're working on and depending on the size of your finger, if you go over the edge, it doesn't matter. Okay. Susan, no question is ever silly if you don't know the answer. Okay, so answer to your not so silly question. With the pergoliner pencils, there are two types within the box. You've got ones that have got white writing on, which are what we call a B pencil, which are blendable, and they are a wax-based pencil. So for those, you would use your dorso oil. Then the other 20, so you've got 16 of those pencils, and then you've got 20 A pencils, and they have black writing on them. And they are the watercolor pencils. And there's various different techniques because parchment doesn't like moisture. So you wouldn't use the watercolor pencils in the way that you would traditionally on card, okay, because there's nowhere for the water to really absorb into, and therefore it creates the buckling of the parchment, okay. Yes, the half price member sale does continue up until and including the 12th of February. So yeah, so let's bring this in now, and you'll definitely see a difference in that colour. Okay, I know white on white isn't very good for the camera, but so if I put it on the dark blue, it doesn't, definitely not good. Why I turned it over to the pink, I don't know. Okay, now I have gone outside the area, so this is where your eraser pencil comes into play. So you've got a pink one for pencils, and you've also got the white one for ink. But the white one isn't just for ink, you can use it for your pencils as well. Likewise for the pink end of the rubber. So all I'm going to do now is use that eraser pencil just around the edges, okay, to where I've gone over the line. Now, another great thing with using the Dorso crayons is that if, for example, you decided halfway through, or you finish it and you turn it over, you think, oh no, I shouldn't have gone for that particular colour. I should have gone for, maybe I wanted yellow flowers. Then you can rub it all out. Okay. So, so if you're new to the colouring, just like they are with the pencils, then you can rub out and start again. Okay. I agree, Jackie. Jackie's saying she's using Dorso crayons a lot more recently. I think, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I've always had them in our stash, and but I've never really played with them. Okay. So we've got that lovely pink there, using the Dorso crayons. So let's have a look now at the pencils, because I can put the pencils on top as well. Am I still with you? Have I lost you all? Have you all disappeared? Where did I go? I haven't been anywhere. I've been sat here colouring in. Are we back on track? No messages to say anything. So I'm guessing you're all there. There we go. Super duper. Okay. So I'm going to grab my pencils. So let's put the crayons to one side for the moment. Okay, let's pop those over there. And I'm going to grab my tool organizer, which I think you'll find is in the half price member sale. Doesn't come fully loaded though. That's the joy of crafting, filling it all up. Okay, so I haven't tidied it up properly since the last TV show. I know. But what we're going to do, I'm going to have a look on the overhead. I'm probably coming a little bit too close, but you've got I've got my B pencils here, which are my wax-based pencils. Okay, so there's 16 of those. And then I've got my aqua pencils, and I've got got some missing. That's because they're out on the side. Okay, so I'm going to go with my B pencils. Okay, just to show how we can use those. So, do I want to go pink or do I want to go grey? Decisions. Let's do a little bit of both. So I'm going to take my red and my white and my black. Okay, and there's, yes, that's what I want. So let's try. Or you could, over on the watercolor pencils, you've got pink pencils there as well. I'll tell you what, let's have a play. Let's have a little experiment, shall we? Sometimes when it go off in a different direction, it can be quite satisfying. Or not. Depends whether it works or not, doesn't it? So if I take a piece of parchment, let me take this one here. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to very quickly just trace out the head of this flower so I can use this as practice. Okay. So I want my tumble dry sheet to wipe my parchment. And then very quickly, I'm going to trace out definitely need my glasses today. So, okay, that one there. Oh, where's that tumble dry sheet gone? A little bit of resistance on there. That's better. Obviously didn't wipe it properly. I'll put the lines in. 1, 2, 3, just like so. There we go. So that's one. So this one, or one of them, I'm going to use the B pencils, and then the other one, I'm going to use the A pencils, just as a comparison. Okay. And I don't know whether this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a go. And I'm sure some of the lovely design team members will give us some top tips as I attempt to do what I'm going to do. Okay, and that one just there. So, right. So I now have my 2 flower heads. They look like butterflies, don't they? I've just seen that. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, what are we seeing now? Where's Mo? Mo. Olivia O'Connell. Can Clarity design a bag for Groovi Plates to carry when you travel? How far are you traveling, and for how long? I remember back in the day when Groovi first started and it first launched, we had the lovely, we've got various different folders. So you've got the traveler folder, you've got the album folder, and you've got the border folder. And back in the day, I remember my little local craft group at the Pantiles in Tunbridge Wells, I had the whole collection in those 3 folders. And I said, you can get everything in these 3 folders. You won't need anything else. And then it got bigger and it got bigger and it got bigger. And then by the end, I mean, almost needed an estate car to take everything around with me. But as Carol Pankstello just very rightly pointed out, I mean, we have our felt bags, and they're lovely, big, beautiful felt bags. And we've also got our tote bags as well. I know they're not for storage, but you could definitely use those Clarity tote bags for carrying it around in your folders. So, yeah, there we go. So Helen said she's got 2 felt Clarity bags and 2 Clarity tote bags. I know, but as I say, maybe if you're going, I don't know, for an appointment somewhere, then the traveler folder, which is, I've got mine, where's mine? I know where it is, it's down here. So these are really great, the traveler. I'll zoom out now. I know I sort of digress slightly, but if I'm being asked a question, let's see, I'm going to go on the overhead. Oh, I've come out already, I didn't realise. There we go. Right, so this is my Groovi Traveller. Okay, it's fun. This is what comes to TV with me whenever I go. So I've got an A4 pocket. I've put black card behind so I can see what's in there. So I've got a couple of Groovi guards, because you can never have too many Groovi guards. I've got my plate mate from the starter kit hiding under there. Then on the other side, I've got my plate mate for A4 and A4sq plates, designed by the lovely Josie Davidson. Excuse me. Also designed by Josie Davidson, the plate mate for A5sq grids as well. Lovely dotted patterns. Then we turn over and then it's sectioned, so to speak. So I've got 2 A5, so these are from the starter kit. We've got the Hills and the Mountains, we've got Barb's Loving Heart. I've got a couple of random borders down there. I don't know why I've got Christmas in there, but hey, never too early for Christmas. Then I've got my nested squares, I've got my adapter plate, I've got some lovely floral ones down the side. Moving over, we've then got our lovely butterfly wreath. I mean, I've got 2 in here. I wouldn't recommend putting lots in there, especially on the bottom ones, because they can be a little bit more difficult to get out. But in the top, you could go like front and back. So I've got my nested scallop squares and circles, which I believe Jane will be using on Thursday on the Pergamano show. And then what else have I got? Then I've got my grids, my basic grids. I'm using the straight one at the moment, so that's why that's not in there. More random Christmas. Then we've got another 2 A4 pockets. So you've got your, this is the word chain border plate mate. And on this side, I've got my calligraphy A5 plate mate. And then the last one I always keep for parchment. So I've got A4 and A5. So for me, this is, if you're going somewhere, load it up with your favorite plates or the plates you want to do. And then you can take that with you. And if you're going away for a period of time, then the album folder contains just this type of folder sleeve, where you get 2 A5s and your border as well. So yeah. So if you're going somewhere, maybe a short period, a long period, and you're limited on space, then the folders are definitely a good way to go, aren't they? Okay, so let's zoom back in. We got, oh, wrong way. I knew I'd go the wrong way. So we're going to zoom in. So we said, yeah, they look like, they do look like fairies, don't they? They need just like a, so you've got like the skirt and you've got fairy wings potentially on them. See there, now it's like those handheld fans, you know, that when you click and it go, and then they collapse down again. Anyway, back to colouring. So let's have a look. I need to slurp a coffee now. Ah, that's better. Right. So we're going to use a, so as I say, we've gone for the B to the B11. So the B pencils have white writing on them, and they're the wax waste ones. So I've got red, black, and white for those. And then we've got the watercolor pencils. And so this is A9 and A10, 2 lovely pinks. Okay, so let's give something a go. If I take my, this is the watercolor pencil. Okay. Now I'm not applying a lot of pressure. I'm just colouring in very lightly on the back using the A pencil. Okay. Now because they're a watercolor pencil, I'm getting a little bit of dust, especially when I go over the white areas. That's why I need to zoom in a little bit more, don't I? Which way am I going? Zoom in. Jerry Wilson. Good morning, Paul. Can I ask a question? You're unable to find the plate on the web I'm using today. If you you're watching via YouTube, yeah, YouTube. Excuse me, sorry. Sue, question please. Could you give me the 5-digit code for the PlateMate, for Tina's lovely PlateMate? And because Sue's on Facebook, if she pops the link up, it won't work on YouTube. And then I can just repeat that for Jerry. So there we go. So I've used the pencil on the back. I'm going to take my brush. Was it the PlateMate you referred to, Jerry, or was it the little poppy plate? Ooh. Okay. We'll come back to that one. We will respond to that shortly. So got the lovely pink on the back. If I pop the white card underneath, you can definitely see that we've got pink. And it doesn't look, it looks a little bit greatly, looks a little bit grainy, but I'm not too concerned over that. Okay, so the Parchlet Jerry, if you type in, which is the little, why did I ask Sue for the code when all the codes are on the plates? What a dumbo I am. Okay, so Jerry, if you're interested in this plate, the code is 42203. 42203. If you're interested in the plate mate, then the code for that one is 42199. 42199. Sometimes I can be a little bit dull. It's on the plates, isn't it? Here you go. Okay, so we've used the watercolor pencil dry. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go on again. Not so intense. So I'm sort of scribbling on a little bit now. I think you can sort of see it's not so solid in color. Okay, it's definitely a lot more grainier than this one here. Okay, so what I'm going to try, I'm going to take a water brush with no water, and I'm going to dip it in my imaginary pot of water, i.e. my mouth. And then I'm going to dab it off onto some kitchen towel to take any excess moisture off. Okay, this might work, it might not. And then I'm going to use the brush on the back. I don't know if you can see what it's doing. It's actually moving pigment quite a lot. Even though this is very, very damp, there's no real moisture to the pencil, to the brush, I mean. But what it's doing, let me bring, but look, it's definitely activated. This may look rubbish when I turn it over. Not looking very impressive on the back. Let's have a look. No, not sure. Not happy with that result. But it's all about practicing, isn't it? So if I now take my razor pencil, I could get rid of it. There we go. All gone. Never happened. Oh, dear me. See, pencils are very forgiving when it comes to working with them on parchment craft. So let me take, where's that pencil gone? There it is. So now I can go back in. I'm going to go in. So I'm going to use just the watercolor pencil. I'm just going on heavy now to color in. Okay, to get that lovely sort of intensity of pink. Okay. So we're just using the watercolor pencil just direct onto the parchment on the back, just to get a color. So when I turn that over now, you can't tell where I rubbed it out, where I started again. just coloured directly onto the back. Okay, so now let's have a look at the B pencils. Now there isn't a pink in the B pencils, so we're going to make our own pink. Okay, and in order to do that, I'm going to take my white pencil and I'm going to just scribble on very lightly on the back, like so. Okay, so we're just going to put a complete layer of white down. You need it to look grainy. What you don't need it to look like is that, because then it becomes harder to blend the colour in. Okay, so just make sure we've got a nice coverage. Then I'm going to take my blending pen. I'm going to take a clean nib, and I think it was Glynis that had a top tip for the blending nibs. If you want to keep one just for white, then on the end just put a black mark on the stalk, so that you know that's your white one. I'm going to take my Dorso oil, quick dip in there, and then we're just going to break down the pigment of the white so it's not grainy and it's nice and smooth. Okay, now when it stops going smooth, then just load a little bit more Dorso oil on your blending pen. Okay, so we're just going to blend it all out nice and evenly. Again, this is a this is, I have to chuckle, another way of doing white work if you want to. Okay, Jerry, the plate mate, the code for that one is, let me bring it back in again, 42199. 42199. Okay, and by popping that code in, that will bring it up for you. Okay, so we've now got a nice blend of white. So in order to get the pink, we need to introduce another colour, and we need to introduce it using the B pencil. So I'm now going to use the B11, but I just want a tiny amount of red. Okay, because if I put too much on, then it's just going to turn red and I'm not going to get my pink. So all I'm going to do, I'm literally putting a flick of red in. Okay, if I bring that in, you can see it's literally just a flick of red. Okay, as Jane said, if you go back in again with the white pencil, it will intensify the whiteness. So it's all about building up the layers, and I think that's what we're learning today, aren't we? About building up the layers to get the depth of colour. So I'm going to go to another nib, and let's just try a dry nib and see what happens. If we try to take that red and move it into the white. Okay, so I'm using the nib to take that red. So let's go on here. So you can see it's definitely starting to go pink. But as we said, it's all about building up the layers of colour. Okay. Now if you find that you want it pink a little bit more quickly, then just pick up an incy bincy tiny piece of oil, check on a scrap piece of parchment, and then very lightly stroke the parchment. There really is no pressure going on the parchment at all at this point. I'm sort of, I'm tickling the parchment with the blending nib. Okay. Never thought we'd be saying that, tickling parchment. Oh dear. It could be shut down in a minute. Tickling parchment. So all I'm doing, I mean, you can see that the nib is definitely changing colour. Jill Wilding, 40 folders. Goodness me. See, a bit of organisation. Definitely helps, doesn't it? Okay, so let's turn this over and see. This is going to be a very subtle hint of pink. Okay. Lovely. And if I want to intensify it, then what do? I take the red again, and it is, I am literally very light. I'll probably put too much on now. Let's go again. So tickle your parchment, start from the bottom. It's getting worse. Start at the base of your petal and flick away. Tickle away. Okay. I haven't added any more oil. I'm just gently flicking away from the base of the petal and bringing it up to the top or to the edge of the petal. So what else have I got to tell you this week? Okay, so where are we now? We're Tuesday. Where are we now? We're Tuesday today. If you're watching live, and Thursday, the lovely Jane Telford will be on Create and Craft for the Pergamano shows at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. With some lovely designs from Jazz here in the office. And Jane will be sharing lots of tips and tricks and techniques with you during the course of those 2 hours. Then on Thursday evening, 7 o'clock, it's Back in the Shack with Barb, continuing with the lovely crown and faux gems. I think Barb says she's going to make a start on the faux gems on Thursday evening. So if you need a recap on that, because it works lovely on parchment as well, not just paper and card. So that's on Thursday at 7 p.m. Then on Saturday, Barb's back on the TV on Create and Craft at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock, filling a couple of extra hours with the Doodleology range of designs. And she gave you a sneaky peek yesterday of some fantastic new Doodleology postcards as well. So, and I'm sure she'll give you a sneaky peek on Thursday evening. If you tune into the Shack on Thursday evening. And then we've got the lovely Clarity Matters blog. You've got Barbara's blog. You've got our YouTube page with lots of tutorials. Plenty there to keep you. If you're at a loose end, go over to the Clarity YouTube page and just have a look around. But you'll be there for hours, I can assure you. It's very addictive, isn't it? So what I'm doing whilst I'm talking, we're just building up this, well, I'm just blending out this colour really to get a lovely pink. So now if I bring that in, you can see now how we're starting to get that very soft, subtle colour. But we can build it up again. So you would go around, you would do your different layers, and then if I wanted to, I mean, I should let it sort of dry a little bit longer, but I can go back in now with some white, just in the top area, like so. I could take a little bit more red. It's just little flicks of colour. Excuse me. Question from Trisha. Quick question on the folders. Does anyone have any good ideas on how to store them? I seem to always have them falling down when I store them on the shelf. I suppose you need like a bookend. Is it a bookend? I remember, God, back in school, well, I don't know where that came from. Back in school, it was like a metal thing, and it was like a T. It was like a T. So you had a bit of metal there, and you had a bit of metal going up, and one half of it went under the books, and then you pushed it up, and it stopped it falling over because it had a flat panel on either side. I'm sure you must still be able to get those. So Helen says, when you have enough folders, they hold themselves up. Are you talking from experience, Helen? Yep, Ken's just said the same as well. Funny that. I'm just reading. They fall down whilst you're working. Oh, goodness me. I hope they're not up high. Somebody suggested if you've got shelving that have got cube shelving rather than sort of long shelving, possibly. Another option is, so for example, you can just about see over here, we've got these are the 8x8 folder papers. So they're all stored upright, but they're at a slight angle as well. So another option could be, depending on how your shelf works, so you could sort of stand them all upright like so, okay, and you could have that bookmark, or what you could do, you could have one so that that one's a little bit too tight, take that one out. So you could have something like that with using one of the other ones. So have one, I know it's a bit of a waste of space, but it would definitely stop them falling over whilst you're working, maybe. Or the other option is more folders. That's another possibility. Goodness me, I can't believe where the time goes. It really does. When I was up at TV with Barb on Saturday and Sunday, that first hour on Saturday, couldn't believe how quickly the hour was. And Barb said, I've just got going, I can't stop now. But sometimes I think because we enjoy it so much, and we're in good company, the time surely does fly. Bungee straps. That is another option. So thank you once again for joining me. We'll continue with this next week. I'll tidy this up to one side, and then we'll come back to it again next week. Don't forget, Jane on Thursday, Pergamano Show, Barb on TV on Saturday, Shaq Thursday night at 7, and the Clarity Matters and Barbara's blog during the course of the week. And don't forget, the member sale runs until the 12th of February, which I think is Monday. It will finish at midnight on Monday evening. So thank you to lovely Sue, as always, for her help, and the lovely design team. And more importantly, thank you for your company once again. And I will see you next Tuesday, and I've got some fantastic sneaky peeks next Tuesday for you. On that note, I'm going. Bye. Have fun. Get groovy.